To see a Revit model in a larger context, the model can be imported into an InfraWorks 360 model for further analysis and presentation. The Revit geometry is geolocated and imported into position in the InfraWorks model. To get the best results when importing, prepare the Revit model first. On the Manage tab, click Location to define the physical position of your project. In the Define Location By list, select Internet Mapping Service. Use the project address line to enter an exact address for the location or get close to the final position of your project. When the model is placed in InfraWorks, the unit of measurement is meters, so you may consider changing the unit in the Revit model to meters to make it easier to make adjustments later on. Click and drag the red indicator in the Map section of the dialog to more specifically position the project. Hover the cursor over the indicator to see the latitude and longitude of the project. When the model is imported into InfraWorks, this latitude and longitude are applied to the survey point in the Revit model to position the geometry in InfraWorks. In a site plan view, position the survey point as required in relation to the geometry. On the Manage tab, select Position and Rotate True North to rotate the north position of the project as required. In this example, you adjust north so the long side of the building faces approximately east-west. Next, create a 3D view for transferring geometry to InfraWorks. Right-click the default 3D view in the project browser and click Duplicate. Rename the view to Navis to AIW. By default, InfraWorks looks for a view with a Navis prefix for importing geometry. If a view with this name does not exist, the default 3D view is used. If there is not a default 3D view in the project, the last opened 3D view is used. To control the elements transferred to InfraWorks, it is a best practice to set up a named view. Use visibility and graphics overrides to turn off elements and categories you do not want to show in InfraWorks. For example, the topography and the planting categories are turned off in Revit because they are not needed in the InfraWorks model. When you are finished, save the Revit project. In InfraWorks 360, click the InfraWorks Model menu, Create and Manage Model, Data Sources, to import your Revit file. In the Data Sources panel, click Add File Data Source and select Autodesk Revit from the list. Navigate to your project and follow the prompts to send the file to Autodesk 360 for processing. When the Revit project is added, it displays in the Buildings Data Source list. When the data source is done processing, select it and right-click and select Configure. In the Configure dialog, click Close and Refresh to load the geometry into the InfraWorks model. Minor adjustments may be required. Make adjustments to the geometry in 3 ways. Provide offsets. Use interactive placement from the Configure dialog, or enable edit mode to manually manipulate the geometry in the InfraWorks model. To see changes made in Revit to the model after it has been added to InfraWorks, save the Revit model to the original location. In InfraWorks, right-click the project in the Data Sources panel and select Re-import. This action updates the geometry of the project in the InfraWorks model. Use Revit and InfraWorks together to better understand and analyze the project in the larger context of the building site.